The void of space was silent. Beyond Saturn's swirling rings, a darkness began to move, a shape that wasn't supposed to be there. At first, Earth's telescopes caught only a shadow, a smear of black against black, so perfect it looked like an error in the images. But it was no error. The shape grew larger with every passing hour until, finally, the truth became impossible to deny. A massive cube, the size of a small moon, drifting silently toward the inner solar system. Its surface was smooth, almost featureless, absorbing every ray of sunlight. It did not reflect light. It swallowed it. NASA scrambled for answers. Satellites were redirected. Deep space probes were launched. Military fleets were put on alert. And then the first disaster struck. The vanishing. A cargo vessel, the Odyssey, was transporting mining crews between Saturn's moons when it passed too close to the cube. In a flash of light, the ship vanished. No wreckage. No distress signal. Nothing. Minutes later, 3 satellites near Saturn went dark. Ground control technicians stared at blank screens, desperately trying to re-establish contact, but the signals were gone, erased as if the machines had never existed. Could it be a black hole? One scientist whispered. No, another replied, pale and trembling. Black holes don't move like that. As fear spread through the Mission Control Center, the cube began to glow with an eerie, cold light. Symbols appeared on its surface, shifting and pulsing like a heartbeat. Then Earth received the transmission. The message. It wasn't a jumble of alien sounds. It wasn't a coded signal that needed to be cracked. It was English. Clear. Perfect. Terrifying. Surrender your homeworld. Resistance is useless. You have 7 days. The voice was mechanical, emotionless. It spoke with the certainty of something ancient and unstoppable. Around the world, governments collapsed into panic. News broadcasts replayed the message on endless loops. Crowds filled the streets, some rioting, some praying, all terrified of the same question. Why Earth? In underground bunkers and secret meeting halls, the leaders of humanity gathered. They sat at a massive circular table, faces lit by the dim glow of screens showing the cube. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Others demanded war. But no one truly understood what they were facing. The debate. President Laura Graves of the United North Americas slammed her fist on the table. If we bow down to this thing, we guarantee our extinction. They won't stop at Earth. They'll take everything. Prime Minister Zhao of the Eastern Alliance shook his head. You don't know that. Maybe if we comply, they'll let us live. They sent their message in our own language, Graves snapped. That means they've been watching us for a long time. Studying us. This isn't negotiation. This is domination. The room fell silent as a grim realization spread. The aliens didn't just want Earth. They wanted submission. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A new image appeared on the central screen, a live feed of the cube as it hovered near Saturn. The countdown begins. The cube's surface shifted, opening like a mechanical flower. Beams of pure energy extended outward, striking Saturn's rings. Chunks of rock and ice were pulled in, spinning faster and faster, feeding into the cube's core. Dr. Elias Cato, a physicist present at the meeting, gasped. They are harvesting matter, building something, or charging a weapon. A countdown appeared across the screen, projected directly from the cube. 168 hours. 7 days. 1 week until whatever came next. Fear swept through the room. Some officials broke down, whispering prayers. Others argued, shouting over one another. But in one corner of the chamber, a small group of men and women stood silently. Captain Rhea Solers, commander of Earth's defense fleet, stepped forward. Her uniform was worn, her face battle-scarred, but her voice carried iron strength. Enough, she said, cutting through the chaos. They declared war. Whether we fight or not, they'll erase us. The only question is whether we go quietly or defy the cosmos. Sergeant Vale, a soldier who had lost his entire family when the Odyssey vanished, clenched his fists. I say we make them regret ever coming here. The room fell into silence. For the first time, hope flickered, fragile, but real. President Graves nodded slowly. Then we fight. But to do that, we need a plan, and fast. The rising threat. As the leaders began planning their desperate defense, events unfolded beyond their sight. Deep in space, the cube shifted again. Its glow intensified, sending ripples of strange energy through the void. Saturn's rings began to break apart, chunks of rock swirling like storm clouds. A probe caught a final image before being destroyed. Inside the cube's core, countless machines moved in perfect unison, like the gears of a colossal clock. Whatever the aliens were building, it was nearing completion. On Earth, Dr. Cato stared at the countdown, his mind racing. "This isn't just about Earth," he whispered. This could unmake our entire solar system." Rhea placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we don't just defend Earth," she said. "We take the fight to them." The final hook. As the meeting ended, the cube sent one more message, this time not in words, but in imagery. Screens across the globe lit up, showing a horrifying vision. Earth, burning in silence, its continent shattered, floating in space like broken glass. Beneath the image, 2 words appeared. "Final warning." The transmission ended. The countdown ticked to 167 hours. Humanity had 1 week to prepare. 1 week to stand against something older than time itself. And somewhere, deep inside that impossible cube, the alien machine stirred, patient, precise, unstoppable. The stage was set. The cosmos had issued its challenge. Now, it was humanity's turn to answer. The war room beneath Geneva was alive with noise. Maps of Earth's orbit and the solar system glowed on massive screens, each marked with red warning symbols. The countdown clock pulsed above the central table, 167 hours remaining. Earth's leaders argued furiously. Some demanded to prepare evacuation ships, while others insisted on surrender. But the people standing in the middle of the chamber, a small group of soldiers, scientists, and tacticians, knew there was no escape. The cube wasn't just a threat to Earth. It was a threat to everything. The heroes emerged. Captain Rhea Solar stood tall in the center, her dark uniform marked with the insignia of Earth's defense fleet. She had fought pirates in the asteroid belt, defended colonies on Mars, and survived battles that most considered hopeless. Her face bore a thin scar across her cheek, but her gray eyes were calm and sharp. "Every second we waste arguing is another second that thing grows stronger," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "If we don't act, there won't be an Earth left to save." Beside her stood Dr. Elias Cato, a physicist whose mind was as brilliant as it was restless. He wore a simple white coat, smudged with grease and streaked with exhaustion. Cato had been researching strange alien relics discovered decades ago, relics humanity never fully understood. Now, staring at a live feed of the alien cube, he knew those relics were pieces of a much larger puzzle. "This isn't an invasion fleet," Cato said, adjusting his glasses with trembling hands. "It's a machine designed to erase entire star systems. We aren't dealing with a living enemy. We're dealing with ancient artificial intelligence following orders written millions of years ago." The room fell silent. Ancient AI. Unstoppable. Relentless. The very idea made the air feel colder. At the edge of the group stood Sergeant Vale, broad-shouldered and battle-hardened. His uniform was battered, his voice rough. Vale's family had been aboard the Odyssey, the ship that vanished when the cube arrived. He didn't speak much, but when he did, every word carried rage and grief. "Whatever it is," Vale growled, "we're going to tear it apart, piece by piece." A weapon of desperation. Rhea turned to Cato. "You said you've been studying alien relics. Do we have anything that can hurt it?" Cato hesitated, then brought up a holographic model, a sleek, strange device shaped like a spiral blade. "This is Project Starforge," he said, "based on alien tech found on Europa. It was meant to generate controlled wormholes for deep space travel. But if overloaded..." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "It could collapse space itself, like detonating a bomb in the very fabric of reality." The leaders gasped. "You're suggesting we use an untested weapon," President Graves said, narrowing her eyes. "If you're wrong, you won't just destroy the cube. You could destroy Earth." Cato nodded grimly. "Yes, it's a gamble. A dangerous one. But conventional weapons won't even scratch that thing. This might be our only chance." Splitting the team. Rear studied the cube's rotating image on the screen. It's too well defended to strike from the outside. We need intel. We need to get inside. Vale's eyes lit up with grim determination. A strike team, he said. We sneak into the cube, find its core, and give Kato the data he needs to overload his weapon. That's suicide, one of the generals said sharply. No human ship has ever returned from that thing. Rhea's expression didn't change. Then we'll be the first. She turned to Vale. You and I will lead the mission. Kato stays here to work on the Starforge device. Kato's mouth tightened. If you don't bring back the right data, I can't build a weapon strong enough. And if you're caught... He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Growing tensions. As plans were drawn, cracks began to form in the fragile alliance. Prime Minister Zhao of the Eastern Alliance pulled President Graves aside. Rhea's plan is madness. Zhao hissed. If we surrender now, perhaps the machine will leave some of us alive. A few survivors are better than none. Graves glared at him. If we surrender, we cease to be human. We'll be nothing but slaves to a dead machine. But Zhao wasn't convinced. In secret, he began transmitting encrypted messages to unknown recipients. Meanwhile, Vale trained his squad aboard a military station orbiting Earth. The men and women under his command were the best soldiers from every nation, people willing to face the impossible. They drilled day and night, preparing for a mission they might never return from. Remember, Vale told them, pacing between the rows of soldiers, the enemy doesn't feel fear, doesn't feel pain, but we do, and that's our strength. Fear keeps us sharp. Pain reminds us we're alive. And anger... He paused, his fists clenching. Anger will keep us fighting until the last breath. The cube stays. Back near Saturn, the alien cube continued to grow brighter. Swirls of energy surrounded it, twisting space like a whirlpool. Saturn's rings were now completely gone, consumed by the machine. And still, the countdown ticked downward, 142 hours remaining. Earth's telescopes caught glimpses of new shapes emerging from a cube, smaller drones, swarming outward like wasps from a hive. For now, they stayed near the cube, but Rhea knew they were scouts. Soon, they would head for Earth. We have less time than we thought, she said to Vale, watching the swarm grow. If we don't strike first, there won't be anything left to defend. A glimmer of hope. Late that night, Kato worked alone in his lab, surrounded by scraps of alien technology. He stared at the half-built Starforge device, exhaustion etched on his face. For a moment, he considered giving up. The task was too great, the time too short. Then he remembered the cube's message. Surrender your homeworld. Resistance is useless. No, he whispered fiercely. Resistance is human. His hands moved faster, determination surging through him. They would not go quietly into the void. The mission begins. At dawn, the strike team boarded their stealth ship, the Vanguard. Families and friends watched from viewing decks, many knowing they would never see their loved ones again. Rhea addressed the crew before launch. We don't just fight for Earth, she said. We fight for every future the cosmos wants to erase. For every dream, every story, every heartbeat. Humanity doesn't bow. Humanity rises. The engines roared to life. The Vanguard vanished into the blackness of space, heading toward the alien cube. Behind them, the countdown continued, 140 hours remaining. The last stand had begun. The Vanguard cut through the void like a shadow, its engines running at minimal power to stay hidden. Inside the ship, the air was thick with silence. No one spoke unless they had to. Every person on board understood that one mistake could bring the alien swarm down on them before they ever reached the cube. Captain Rhea Solas stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the massive structure ahead. The alien cube floated near Saturn like a godless monument, its black surface absorbing all light, its edges glowing faintly as if pulsing with a heartbeat. It looked almost alive, and it was waiting. Through the graveyard. Approaching wreckage field, the pilot murmured. The ship glided through what remained of humanity's first defense fleet. Twisted metal hulls, drifting life pod cracked open like eggshells, entire carriers snapped in half as if some cosmic hand had crushed them. Sergeant Vale stood at the viewport, jaw tight. His sister's transport ship had been one of the first to vanish when the cube arrived. He searched the wreckage for any sign of her ship, though he knew it were hopeless. Rhea joined him. "We'll make them pay," she said quietly. Vale's voice was low, steady. "Just give me the chance." As they passed a shattered destroyer, its broken lights flickered one last time before vanishing into darkness. The crew felt like ghosts drifting through a graveyard, the silent wreckage a warning of what awaited them if they failed. Alien territory. Entering its perimeter, the navigator whispered. Everyone on the bridge tensed. The Vanguard slid closer to the cube, past drifting drones shaped like angular shards of glass. Some were small, no larger than birds. Others were massive constructs, bristling with weapons that glowed faintly in the blackness. But none of them moved. It was as if the cube hadn't detected them. Not yet. Rhea exhaled slowly. Maintained stealth. No sudden movements. The closer they got, the less the cube looked like a simple machine. Its surface was covered in moving patterns, geometric symbols flowing like rivers of light, forming and unforming endlessly. They're rewriting themselves, Dr. Cato said through the comms from Earth. He was monitoring their feed in real time. It's like the entire surface is one giant processor, a living code. The inside of a god. At 0200 hours, the Vanguard reached the only visible opening in the cube, a massive, slowly turning gateway like the iris of an eye. "Are we really going in there?" one of the soldiers whispered. Vale checked his rifle. "Orders are orders." The ship slid through the opening and into the darkness beyond. Inside the cube, the scale was overwhelming. Vast chambers stretched for miles, filled with colossal pillars of glowing crystal and machinery that moved with mechanical precision. Energy arced between towers, casting pale light over rivers of liquid metal below. The crew felt tiny, like insects inside the veins of some ancient god. "Scanning," the pilot muttered. "No life signs. No breathable atmosphere. This place, it's empty." But Rhea wasn't so sure. She could feel something watching them. Something cold. The first discovery. The Vanguard approached a central spire pulsing with bright blue energy. Dr. Cato's voice crackled over the comms. "That spire, it's a data core. If you can tap into it, I can trace the command system controlling the entire cube. That's how we find its weakness." Rhea nodded to Vale. "Take the squad. Get inside. Cover each other." The soldiers left the ship, thrusters guiding them across the metallic platforms toward the spire. The airless silence made every movement feel too loud, too fragile. Inside the spire, they found walls covered in alien glyphs glowing faintly. Strange crystal structures pulsed like hearts, carrying energy deeper into the cube. Vale set up a portable terminal. "Hooking in now." As data poured across the link to Earth, Cato's voice grew sharp with excitement. "These readings, this AI network is millions of years old. It's not building weapons. It's following protocols from a dead civilization. Orders on repeat. Endless war with no one left to stop it." Rhea frowned. "Then maybe we can trick it. Make it destroy itself." Before Cato could respond, Vale stiffened. "Captain, we've got movement." The enemy wakes. From the shadows above, something detached itself from the ceiling. It wasn't a drone like the ones outside. This was larger, more insect-like, with too many legs and a single glowing eye at its center. It crawled silently along the walls, moving with unnatural precision. Then another emerged, and another. Rhea cursed. "Squad, back to the ship. Now!" The first machine dropped onto the platform with a metallic clang. Vale opened fire, bullets sparking off its armor. The thing didn't even slow down. Its eye glowed brighter, charging some kind of weapon. The squad sprinted back toward the Vanguard, covering each other as energy bolts tore through the air. One soldier was hit, spinning into the abyss below without a sound. "Go! Go! Go!" Vale shouted, shoving the last man aboard before leaping in himself. The Vanguard's engines roared to life as the alien machines gave chase, crawling across the walls like a swarm of spiders. "Narrow escape. Punch it." Rhea ordered. The ship tore out of the cube's interior, enemy fire streaking past. Drones launched from the surface, pursuing like a cloud of black knives. The Vanguard barely escaped the perimeter before activating its stealth field. The drone stopped at the edge of the cube, returning silently to their master. Inside the ship, the crew caught their breath. Vale slammed his fist into the wall, furious at the loss of his soldier. But Dr. Cato's voice cut through the silence, trembling with both fear and awe. The data you got, it's enough. I know how to break the cube, but you're not going to like it. Earth was on edge. Every hour, the alien cube grew brighter in the night sky, now visible even to the naked eye as a strange black star near Saturn. People crowded city streets, staring upward in fear. Some prayed, some rioted, others simply waited, numb, as the countdown ticked lower. 118 hours remaining. In Geneva, beneath a fortress of concrete and steel, the Global Council convened in the war room. Tension ran like a live wire through the air. The data debrief. The Vanguard transmission played on the central screen. Shaky footage showed the vast, alien interior, rivers of liquid metal, massive towers of glowing crystal, and the insect-like guardians crawling along the walls. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Dr. Elias Cato stood at the center, his face pale from exhaustion. "This is more than just a weapon," he said, his voice urgent. "The cube is an ancient factory, part of a network spread across the galaxy. It doesn't create life. It erases it. It sees every advanced civilization as a problem to solve by wiping them out." President Graves leaned forward. "And you believe you can stop it?" Cato nodded, though his hands trembled. "Yes, but only by using its own logic against it. The cube cannot handle contradictions. If we feed it paradoxical orders, it will tear itself apart." General Marcus frowned. "And how do you plan to feed it those orders?" Cato hesitated. "We would need to transmit the paradox directly from inside its core. That means another infiltration mission, deeper than the first." A heavy silence fell. Everyone knew what that meant. A suicide mission. The fracture in the Alliance. Not everyone in the room agreed humanity should keep fighting. Prime Minister Zhao of the Eastern Alliance rose slowly, his hands clasped behind his back. "This plan is reckless," he said coldly. "We have no guarantee the so-called paradox will work. Even if it does, the cost will be unimaginable. Our fleets are already crippled. Our colonies on Mars and Europa are defenseless." Graves glared at him. "You're suggesting surrender." "I'm suggesting survival," Zhao snapped. "If we present ourselves as non-threats, perhaps the machine will overlook us." "You saw the message," Graves said, her voice like a blade. "They don't overlook anything. They erase." The room erupted into arguments, leaders shouting over one another. In the chaos, Zhao's aide slipped quietly from the chamber, his steps silent. The secret transmission. Later that night, deep within the shadows of the Geneva complex, the aide knelt before a concealed console. His hands moved quickly, sending encrypted data bursts into the void. The recipient was not human. A low hum filled the chamber. The screen glowed with alien symbols, the same flowing glyphs seen on the cube's surface. A cold, mechanical voice spoke, perfectly calm. "Data received. Human resistance patterns updated. Proceed with directive." The aide swallowed hard. "I've done what you asked. Spare my people." Compliance acknowledged. Termination postponed, contingent on continued cooperation. Before the aide could respond, a shadow moved behind him. A strong hand clamped over his mouth. Sergeant Vale yanked him backward, slamming him against the wall. The aide struggled, eyes wide with terror. "You've been feeding them intel," Vale growled. "You're the reason they always know where to strike." The aide's voice cracked. "You don't understand. They can't be stopped. If we help them, some of us might live." "Traitor," Vale snarled. Before Vale could question him further, a faint mechanical whine filled the room. The console flared with light. A small alien drone, no larger than a hawk, emerged from the shadows, sent through some kind of quantum portal. It fired a single beam. The aide collapsed instantly, his chest burned through. Vale dove for cover, shooting the drone to pieces. When he rose, it was too late. The traitor was dead, and with him, the truth he carried. Growing despair, Vale reported back to Rearing Graves, his face dark with anger. "They've infiltrated us," he said. "They know every move we make. There's no way to tell how many spies Zhao's been feeding them. Graves slammed her fist on the table. Damn it, we're running out of time. As they spoke, Zhao appeared in the doorway, feigning innocence. What is the meaning of this disturbance? Vale's hand went to his sidearm, but Rhea stopped him with a glance. Not yet. They couldn't risk open conflict between human factions, not when the real enemy was watching. The cube's new move. At that moment, alarms blared across the war room. The central screen shifted to show the cube near Saturn. But now, it wasn't alone. Dozens of smaller constructs were detaching from its surface, spreading outward in perfect formation. The drones Vale had seen inside were nothing compared to these. Dr. Cato's face went pale. They're replication units. It's making copies of itself. The entire chamber fell silent. If those reach Earth orbit, General Marcus said slowly, they'll build a second cube, and a third, until our entire system is nothing but dumb. How long do we have? Rhea demanded. Cato checked his readings, his voice barely above a whisper. Less than 3 days. A desperate decision. Back aboard the Vanguard, Rhea gathered Vale and the strike team. This mission just became critical, she said. We have to get inside the core and upload Cato's paradox before those replication units reach Earth. Vale checked his rifle, his face grim. Even if it kills us. Rhea's voice hardened. It probably will, but if we fail, everyone dies anyway. Through the viewport, they could see the distant glow of Saturn and the dark, terrible shape of the cube. The enemy had begun to move. Meanwhile, in the shadows, in a secure lab, Dr. Cato worked furiously on the paradox code. Lines of alien symbols merged with human programming, forming a weapon of pure logic. His hands shook as he typed. This isn't just code, he whispered to himself. This is a message. The ultimate contradiction. A puzzle no machine can solve. He paused, staring at the cube's live feed. Somewhere deep inside, a vast intelligence waited, silent, patient, unfeeling. For billions of years, you've been killing civilizations, Cato murmured. Well, this time, your prey fights back. The countdown ticked lower, 72 hours remaining. The final hours were slipping away. Across Earth, humanity moved as one. Cities once divided by nations now burned with the same fire, preparation. Factories ran day and night, forging weapons and ship parts. Volunteers lined up to fight, even knowing most would never return. On Mars and Europa, colonies transmitted farewell messages, their voices carried to the stars as if speaking to a loved one who might never answer. Above them all, the alien cube glowed like a black sun near Saturn, and the replication units that had spawned began to spread outward, unstoppable and cold. The countdown ticked lower, 68 hours remaining. A fleet forged in desperation. In orbit around Earth, hundreds of warships floated in formation, the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. Some were advanced destroyers from the defense fleet. Others were refitted mining vessels, their industrial lasers converted into crude weapons. Every ship mattered, no matter how old or untested. On the flagship Resolute, Captain Rhea Solar stood at the center of the command deck, her posture rigid, her face unreadable. Sergeant Vale stood beside her, helmet under one arm, silent as ever. A holographic display showed the cube and its swarm of replication units. The enemy formation looked precise, perfect, a machine's vision of war. General Marcus's voice boomed through the intercom. Our fleets will engage the swarm near Saturn's orbit. The Vanguard strike team will infiltrate the cube itself while we keep the enemy distracted. Vale gave a grim nod. Draw the fire. Buy us time. Understood. Dr. Cato appeared via secure transmission, his image flickering slightly. I've finished the paradox code, he said, his voice tight with exhaustion. But remember, it has to be transmitted from inside the core. If the connection is disrupted, the code will fail. Rhea met his eyes through the screen. Then we won't let it fail. The speech before battle. Before launch, Rhea addressed the fleet through a live broadcast. All across Earth, in bunkers, on ships, and in distant colonies, people watched her image appear. We stand at the edge of extinction, she began, her voice steady but fierce. For centuries, we fought each other, We let borders and greed divide us. But now the cosmos itself has come to erase us. She paused, letting the silence build. The enemy believes we are weak, predictable, just another problem to be solved. But they have made a mistake. We are human. We are not predictable. We are not programmable. We are chaos. We are will. Vale stood just behind her, watching as her words ignited something deep within the crew. Today, we fight not just for Earth, Rhea continued. We fight for every dream, every voice, every child who deserves a future. We will show the stars that humanity does not kneel. Humanity rises. The final words echoed through every ship, every bunker, every heart. The fleet roared approval as engines lit up across the void. The enemy awakens. Near Saturn, the alien cube shifted. Its surface patterns pulsed faster, like the quickening heartbeat of a predator sensing prey. The swarm of replication units moved into precise battle formations, hundreds of black shapes gliding silently through space. Each unit was armed with gravity weapons capable of tearing moons apart. Against them, humanity's fleet seemed fragile, breakable, a handful of candles before a hurricane. But the candles were ready to burn bright. The battle begins. Fleet, advance! Rhea commanded. The human armadas surged forward. Missiles streaked through the void. Rail guns thundered. The first wave of alien drones met them head-on. The initial collision was chaos. Ships exploded like fireworks, their burning fragments scattering through Saturn's rings. Alien drones carved through human lines with surgical precision. But humanity fought back with desperation. Old freighters rammed into drones, sacrificing themselves to take the enemy down. Swarm after swarm fell under concentrated missile fire. Vale watched from the vanguard, gritting his teeth. "Looks like they are holding," he muttered. "Not for long," Rhea replied grimly. "Time to move." The vanguard broke formation, its stealth systems activating as it slipped through the chaos toward the cube. Behind them, the battle raged on, each ship buying precious seconds with blood and fire. Inside the chaos, on the Resolute, General Marcus coordinated the defense. Keep formation. Do not let the swarm through. But the aliens were learning. Their movement became faster, sharper, adapting to human tactics in real time. A massive drone fired a gravity beam, slicing an entire carrier in half. The explosion lit up space like a dying star. Marcus swore, "Rhea, we can't hold them much longer." "Just keep them busy," Rhea's voice crackled over the comm. "We'll end this from the inside." The cube's outer defenses. As the vanguard approached the cube, Vale's squad prepared their gear. Their mission, infiltrate the core, upload Cato's paradox code, and escape, if escape was even possible. The cube loomed ahead, its black surface alive with shifting glyphs. Suddenly, dozens of spider-like machines detached from its hull, rushing toward the vanguard. "Here they come!" Vale shouted. The ship rocked as enemy fire struck its shields. Rhea gritted her teeth. "Get us inside, now!" The pilot dove through a narrow opening just as the ship's stealth field failed. The spider machine slammed into the closing gateway, screeching as a metal seal behind them. For a moment, there was silence. Then Rhea exhaled. "We're in." The fleet falters. Back outside, the battle reached a breaking point. Human ships were falling faster now, their formations collapsing. Marcus's voice was hoarse as he shouted orders. "We can't keep this up. They are tearing us apart." But even as hope began to falter, Rhea's earlier speech echoed in the minds of every soldier. They fought harder, refusing to give ground. Every second they held out was another second for the strike team to succeed. The countdown tightens. Inside the cube, Vale's team moved cautiously through vast metallic corridors. Strange lights flickered along the walls, and the air hummed with alien power. 60 hours remaining, Rhea muttered, glancing at her wrist display. "Let's finish this before we all run out of time." Somewhere deep within the cube, an ancient intelligence stirred. It had detected the intruders, and it was preparing to unleash its full fury. The final battle had only just begun.